Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is It's Almost Here. And pretty much it's going to say a couple of words on a couple of videos I watched earlier today. One of them is by the up and coming elder Amawang Gabar, and another one is from Elder Bishop Ayathun. I put both links in the description box. You should watch them. I'm just gonna say a couple of words, read a couple of definitions and a couple of scriptures, the Lord's will, and end the lesson there. What you're looking in front of you is, the military and these different, roadblocks. And this is just worldwide, because it's not just going to be here in America. It's not going to be in these third world countries only, as we've used to seeing in movies, on news. This is going to be a worldwide event, because when Yahweh Shai comes to deliver us, he said that he will also keep us from the hour of temptation. Lord's will be the elect. So the two videos I'm speaking about is this one here by GMS Awakening 144 Da, or The End. And you can see the title. I don't really want to read the title because they may strike it. And he said link in description, and you see the link is there. So when you go to the link that I provided, it'll bring you to this video, and you can click on this video here, and it'll take you to BitChute. I know some brothers, I believe, have been having trouble on Odyssey uploading. I don't know why, but I guess that's why maybe he didn't upload to Odyssey, because he probably tried and it probably wouldn't go. And the other video, you should watch it. You got good information. The other video is the one by Elder Bishop Ayathun, called It's Nearer Than We Believe, when the Lord will withdraw the street speakings. And he goes into it. Fire cures leprosy. He played this woman, which I've seen her before, making certain comments on the, how can I say it, medical world, or whatever the case may be. And I'm surprised they left this up there, so I would suggest that, brothers click on this link that I put in the description box and just have it queued up, just in case they might take the elders video down. So this is what's coming. It's going to be, a thing that they're doing via these different, this different legislation. Because what's happening right now is they going full force with their agenda. And the problem is that you have a lot of roadblocks as far as laws that are in place, the so-called Constitution and things of that nature, that are hindering them from doing certain things, which really they've been going around it, but they have to make it look like an appearance of some resistance, And the one that's going to really resist them the most is Yahweh Shai, when he comes back and squashes and flattens this devil. So what they're doing is, through these mandates and legislation, they're going around the world and pretty much removing anything that can hinder, their progress. So I looked up the word mandate. It says an official order or commission to do something, and that's what they've been given. Because under the orders of the international banking families, who own the majority of these, or should I say all of the top businesses, or top Fortune 500 businesses, they are the ones that are writing policy, because they are the ones that are paying these different senators. This is why Maya Angelou Bauer said, "Give me control of the nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws." So these mandates is what's being pushed to do something for what? To pretty much put a gag on the rights of the people to bring in their new world order. And that's going to also bring in what? It's also going to bring in Walmart. All right, it's going to bring in Walmart. So when you turn Walmart around, you'll get what it is, and it's this word here. As you see here, Walmart. So it's a play on words. All right. So it says Walmart involves the temporary substitution of military authority for civilian rule and is usually invoked in time of war, rebellion, or natural disaster. Walmart is justified when civilian authority has ceased to function, is completely absent, or has become ineffective. And what have we been seeing around the world? Matter of fact, I got one more precept that just came to mind. What have you been seeing around the world? These different, just let me get this precept so I don't forget it. Got the precept, but I've kind of forgot the point. So what you're seeing is, let's see, justified when civilian authority has ceased. Oh yeah, that's it. It has ceased to, is completely absent or ceased to function, or has become ineffective. And what do you see all around the world, especially here in America? The resignation of firefighters, the resignation of the police, resignation of medical, people. So what's happening is that there's a bigger bulk. It's just because work is not, it doesn't cease. It doesn't dwindle because the members dwindle. What's happening is the work is still there. The workload is still there, but you don't have enough bodies to fill, in those different gaps. And what's happening is people are, working, so much that they're not getting enough rest. And the ones that are being forced, to get juiced up, they're quitting these different forces, which is causing even more pressure on the ones that are already there. Right, the water, brother, understaffed. That's right. They're understaffed and underpaid. You're right. Shit, you're right. You hit the nail on the head 2 times. All right, so they're overworked and understaffed and underpaid. How about that one right there? All right, so this is what this is going to cause, because it's going to cause a collapse in the way things run. So they're going to force, Walmart to send their troops in, to do what they have to do to police these streets, because things are breaking down. And you have here in 2nd Ezra's, the 15th chapter, and the 15th verse says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." To who? To the people. Let's read the 14th verse. "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." Remember, this is a worldwide event. This is why the Lord allowed these devils, through knowledge being increased, to set up the internet, so that to be able to send out information a lot quicker. See, back then, when before America was invented, before America was inhabited by Esau, before any of these of the internet or any of these planes and things of that nature, everything had to be done on horseback. You had something called a post, and they would deliver messages, and it had to be done on horseback. So it took a while for them to get to where they had to get. So the news wasn't spreading as quickly as it is now. So it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." And this is what we're seeing, a worldwide event of destruction of the norm that people are used to. And also the destruction of the end, because all of these things must happen, as it tells us in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, that all these uproars of the people and earthquakes in diverse places have to happen before the end can come. And this is how we know through the Spirit that, we're at the very end, because the Lord said that these signs would follow in these times, right? Though it tarry, wait for it, for it will surely come, it will not tarry. And one people shall stand up and fight against another. You're dealing with class wars, You know, you're dealing with, you know, race wars and the such. And this is why people are armed to the teeth. You know, they're lacking ammunition, but they got some ammunition. But that was purposely done, you know, by the bankers through, you know, purposely, you know, not allowing enough ammo to be out there because they didn't want them to be too armed. They didn't want them to be armed, period. You know, but they're going to invade one another or fight against another, and swords in their hands. The modern day swords today are what? The guns, the missiles for the military, but among the civilian population are guns. You Homo sapiens and your guns. And this is what's happening. People are getting prepared, you know, Esau anyway. They're getting prepared, they're you know, practicing, you know, they're at the shooting ranges, you know, they're prepping. They're doing everything possible to try to get ready for the things that are coming. Meanwhile, Jake is playing around, playing games, talking about if your woman was in my car, I'll put my hand on her cat and shit like that, you know? Straight folly. Straight motherfucking folly, man. But meanwhile, Esau, the other nations, they're getting ready. You know, they're storing stuff up there. You know, they got their guns, they got their ammo. You know, they got things prepared and ready, you know, for when all hell breaks down in this society. You know, and when you when you see these two videos, you have to go to BitChute to see this one. Like I said, the description is in this video. And I have the description for this video in the description box. And then Elder Bishop Ayatun's video, you got to see both of them. You know, because it's letting you know that this thing is really close. It's right there at the door. You know, our salvation is nearer than when we believed. That's why I entitled the lesson, the Spirit had me entitled it, It's Almost Here. And this is a title that's been sort of kind of popping up in my head, you know, pretty much all day to call this, you know, this lesson. And Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai allowed me to remember, you know, the name for the lesson because I didn't write it down, which I normally do. All right, buddy. You're going to have to get on up out of here. Somebody going to have to get on up out of here. All right, so let's read this again. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Because there's going to be war. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. There's going to be uprisings. You know, like right now, you might, you know, you can walk out of your house, you know, you have neighbors, everybody's cool with each other, everybody says, you know, what's up, how you doing, you know, they look out for each other, you know, especially those so-called neighborhood watches and things of that nature. But it's going to get to the point where it's going to be so bad that all of that so-called neighborly, you know, that neighborly stuff is going to go out the window because it's going to be survival of the fittest. And this is why they're doing it the way that they're doing it, because it's causing a stranglehold, it's causing desperation. You know, they continuously pushing, you know, this thing, you know, in the news, you know, about, you know, Homie the Clown, you know, that new variant, Homie the Clown, you know, and it's getting people edgy. You know, they're getting like edgy. They're looking at people that don't have, you know, the mask. They're looking at people that didn't get the juice, you know, and they're looking at them sideways. Like, you know, what's wrong with you? I said, no, what's wrong with you? Right? It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. Why? Because at one point you have, like now you have a threshold where nobody's going to really invade you unless they're just there for the purpose of robbing your house or whatever the case is. But for the most part, everybody pretty much respects the boundaries of, you know, of the privacy of someone's home or their property. But that's going to be done away with once all hell breaks loose, because there's going to be desperation. There ain't going to be anything for anybody to be able to, you know, to eat. And that's the biggest thing right there. You know, and now with all the different, you know, mandates, you know, where you go to this place, you got to, you know, have your juice works, otherwise you can't, you know, come in here, so on and so forth. People with the trap door face diapers, you know, they got a little trap door and the face diaper opens up like a barn door and they put the food in and then it closes back up. You know, just all kind of madness. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. And this is the point right here. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, which is dealing with their leaders, from the police to the senators to the mayors, to the different officials in government, So what's going to happen at this point, they're going to send in, they're going to send Walmart troops in, and those Walmart troops are going to bring in Walmart law, and that's going to cause panic, but they're going to so-called have it to where people will may calm down a little bit, but eventually it's just going to break out. It says, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Why? Because there will be no one there to really police the streets. Because all of these law enforcement officials are a lot of them are quitting the force because they're being forced into something that they don't want to do. And this is being done systematically. And this is being done worldwide, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. So this is going to be it's going to be an all-out war on the citizens of the world. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. See? Because you have something called roadblock. A roadblock is a barrier or barricade on a road, especially one set up by the authorities to stop and examine traffic. Why? Because of everything that's going on. And when you watch the up-and-coming elder Amawan Gabar, he goes into a scenario that he was thinking about those so-called what are those things called? You pass through the toll. I forget what it's called. And Easy Pass. And now everything's going to be linked up to, they're bringing everything online. So when you have that Easy Pass and your what you call it ain't linked up, there could be a possibility that's what they use to drain your bank account. Yep, Easy Pass the water, bro. All right, so that's the roadblock. So that's why a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, and also because of the chaos that's going to erupt because of the drastic measures that people are going to take, because they're going to have a lack, especially for food and water. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. That's right. Even men are going to be afraid in these times because it's going to be vicious. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's right. Great tribulation, a time of trouble. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that last precept, but also that goes into, matter of fact, I got one more. That also goes into the hour of temptation. Micah 5:9. Now, this is dealing with Israel back then, but it's also dealing with now also. Because Israel, the Lord said, Micah 5:9, when you go to the 7th verse, it tells you how they're going to be in the midst of all these nations, pretty much all-out race war. It says, thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. See? So the Lord is going to bring justice for us upon all these heathens. And this is why, another reason why this is happening. It's happening for Jacob's trouble, but it's also happening to bring retribution, and payback against Esau. And the Lord is gonna redeem us. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that I will cut off the horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots, and I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. Yep. So this was dealing with Israel at one time, but now you can apply this to, to Esau, mainly because he's the one that's in power. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. And the last precept I have is Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And that's talking about the Israelites. All right. So as we showed you, Walmart, the Walmart troops with the roadblocks, not really, y'all know what I'm talking about right here. This word here. All right, Walmart. Like I said, it was inspired by this video I watched. The up and coming elder Amawanga Bar. Link in the description box. And Elder Bishop Ayathan. Link in the description box. These two videos right there. So it's getting closer. It's almost here. Meaning that the time of Jacob's trouble is almost here. It's right around the corner. Everything is in place. All the major players are in place. All the major prophecies are popping like popcorn, and it's just a matter of, it could be one event that can trigger a worldwide event that can just make them do, the mandatory thing instead of making it voluntary. Because no longer will it be voluntary, it'll be mandatory. And you see it happen. No, we're not going to make it mandatory, but it's only voluntary. But then when you don't comply, what happens? You get penalized. So that doesn't sound like voluntary to me. That sounds like it's mandatory. Going back to the word mandate, and an official order or commission to do something. And that's what they're doing right now. So with that, I pray that your brothers and your few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.